Welcome back to our home sweet home. I am Ezemma.
Welcome to our show. I am Augustina Anyanwu.
All right, today we're going to address men's financial waste. The last time we addressed women's financial waste, I know our men work so hard to take care of their families, especially the ones in diaspora. But there's so many ways that they are wasting their money, their hard-earned money, that we want to give a little insight on things that we can do to cut down on the financial waste. So my sister, you know that in diaspora especially, I know back home we have parties too, but outside the country, our men are having parties everywhere, from South Africa to United States to London, you name it. Nigerians are having parties and parties every weekend. So, and they're renting expensive hotels. And these are areas that we're wasting our hard-earned money. So what do we do, my sister, to cut down on some of this waste?
What do we do? We are party people. You know, when they rated it, they say Nigeria is one of the happiest country among the happiest country, which we give ourselves tons of. But we can be happy without wasting our life savings.
That's true.
Because we are not only that we are wasting the money, most of us are here living from paycheck to paycheck. And in which, as you know, they have a dollar store here, that everything is a dollar. Most of the time, as Nigerians, we don't regard a dollar.
No.
We don't regard a dollar. And while doing that, we come to lateness and parties. Not only that, we rent expensive parties. We think when we don't go to party on time, we waste the whole 4 hours. Let's say party start by 8 o'clock.
That's true.
And then we get there at 12 o'clock, say, oh, it didn't start yet. That's the thing we always say, oh, they didn't start yet. So when we finally get there, before you know it, it's 2 o'clock. Everybody have to go home. Right. And the host already paid about $3,000-$4,000. Expecting people to come. Sometimes the hosts come late too, don't misunderstand me. Sometimes we come late and then we have to extend the time. And you know what that means?
More money.
More money. We got to pay additional money. The money we paid is excluding food. Remember that? We have to get food. We have to buy that shebi. Of course, you know we got to
Don't
do
go
that.
back to the women.
So
women. We're talking about men today.
Yeah, I understand. But I'm just saying things that, you know, when you mention party, too many things are associated with party.
That's true.
That we see that we can cut down on as to be able to save. And eventually extend that to people at home. We build Nigeria up, build our cities, build our nations, build our states, and our villages up, so that we'll be proud to go back home one day.
That's true.
You know, so that's the way I look at it. I don't know if you have any other thing about the wasteful spending that our men indulge in.
That's true. Because actually our point is this. I mean, the men can use their money in so many different ways in Nigeria. We have so many cities that do not have low-income apartments. And our people are struggling so hard. I think it's time for us to build good places that they can live in. So instead of wasting all this money here, some people can either collectively or individually go home, build estates, build apartments, not just estate for the rich people, but for the people, for the low-income people, so that at least they can have comfortable places to live in.
We can even buy transformer, a decent transformer that can give a place light. Most of the time when NEPA, the transformer maybe blew up or something happened. So if we get a decent transformer that will give us light, because remember what we were talking about? We want to go home, but these are some of the things we need.
That's true.
So we can put that money together and be able to get something.
Exactly. Because actually what you said about the hotel that I like so much is that we rent expensive hotels out there, and at home we don't have those type of hotels. So why don't we go to, you know, like cheaper hotels that we don't have to spend that much. We go to the highest, like Hilton. And like you said, sometimes we rent it for 6-7 hours, but we only spend 2 or 3 hours there because our people come in late. So they call it African time. But don't forget that it's African time, but it's also African money that is being wasted.
You're right about that.
So when you're ready to go home, by then, maybe you have even stayed longer than the time that they gave you, then you have to pay extra. So let's look into some of these areas and see what we can cut down. And
And
then,
again, living in two countries, you know, all the men here, even some women, we live in two different countries. We live in wherever, America, wherever you live, and you still live in Nigeria. Our men, most of them go home every year. And when they get there, sometimes, you know, men, they call it men thing, which to me, as a Christian, is adultery.
exactly.
You keep another woman at home, you want to do everything to sponsor them.
That's true.
So that they don't come and tell your wife, you don't want your wife to know. So eventually they hold you to the extent you want to be sending them money for whatever reason, and you have
So
your
they hold
family
you
here.
ransom.
Yeah, you can call
Okay.
it that. So, and they have their wife here that they have to take care of. So it makes it so difficult. So there are those little tricks they think they're doing to enjoy life. That's what they call it. But eventually, they put themselves in a situation.
And it drains them financially.
That's exactly what it
You're
means
right,
too.
you're right,
Yes.
You're right.
So you know.
So please, I mean, we've been in the Western world for a
For
long time, many of us.
Yes.
And you can see how they behave here. As much as they want to indulge in so many, you know, things. What I mean, I don't mean. I mean, the adultery is wrong in sight of God and man. But I mean, there's so many lifestyles that our people want to live, which is very good. But always remember that where we are, what they do with their money is that if they have a lot of money, they invest it on something. And then when they die, their children will have something to live off. So we have to.
Or when they age.
Exactly.
You don't have to depend on, what do you call it? A retirement alone. Because most people now, even back home, they don't get their retirement.
Exactly.
So people back home too need to start learning lessons. You don't want to get to that stage before you know that it's time for you to save even a penny, even a naira, even 5, 10 naira every time. By the by the time you retire, you will have a little thing to lay your back on. I know most of us are living from paycheck to paycheck, but still, that notwithstanding, we have to wake up and know that if
And
we
save
make
for
a
our
haste,
children. Save
yes,
for our children.
we
Because
make a
actually,
haste.
where we are, you talk about families that are, I don't want to mention names, but we've had about family legacy from one person to the other to the other. So sometimes most of our people at home, we just worry about ourselves. We don't remember our children. So when we die, especially our men, when they're gone, the children start suffering again. So why don't you keep some of those monies that you're spending, so that when you're no longer there, your children will have something to help them to continue life. So these are things that we wanted to address. I know that the men, you are working so hard. We applaud the ones that are doing great in terms of taking care of their families. But see areas that you need to cut down on. So we're talking about men in diaspora.
Yeah.
The next episode, we're going to talk about the men in
Men
Nigeria,
in Nigeria.
and how they are wasting their own money too.
And the women in Nigeria too.
Exactly.
Because they do that should be too.
That's true. We're going to address that. So thank you so much for watching us. What we said with our men, especially the ones in diaspora. Just look into the conventions that you're doing in terms of the hotels. Just to summarize what we said. See what you can cut down. You don't have to go every year. And sometimes when you're going, you can even send delegates. Not everyone going in there into a hotel and then rent all the hotels. So
And
that's
most conventions, they can do it one day. What are you talking? You got to go Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Exactly.
And you're still talking. What are you doing?
That's true.
We need to start seeing results, not talk every year.
Exactly. So let's look into it very well, because the money that we're looking for in Africa, I think is in our pockets. All we need to do is to see how we can tighten the corners and then be able to utilize it very well.
And seal up the hole. Because
Exactly.
most of our pockets here are pocket with holes.
Exactly.
We got to help ourselves
That's true.
to nip it so that the money will get in there and stay, instead of coming in and going out.
That's
Coming
true.
in and going out.
That's
Then
true.
it make everything so difficult
That's
for
true.
everybody to save. You know,
Because in the Western world, it's not how much you earn, but it's how much you spend
how
that
much
makes
you
you
spend.
rich. So please, our people, let's just tighten the corners so that we can help at home. Not help. Sometimes when we say help, I know some people will be like, why do we have to help them out at home? You can help yourself. You can even invest it, call it your name. Like I said, build a company, call it your name. Build a road, call it your name. Build an apartment.
Give people
and call
work.
it
That's
your
what
name.
you're talking about.
Exactly.
Then they create employment.
That's
That's
true.
exactly what it is.
That's
yes,
true.
yes,
That's true.
yes.
So Keep doing the good work you're doing.
Yes.
But please learn to cut down on expenses.
All right, our men.
God
Keep
bless
it
you.
up.
Yes,
Keep on
yes,
working
yes.
hard, but work smart, not too hard.
Exactly.
Work smart, save what you could while we still have the strength.
That's true.
All right, God bless you.
And thank you for watching us. We appreciate all your comments.
Amen.
Once again, if you need to contact us for, we can
Any
address
reason.
the audience.